Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's headlines, following the political nuclear agreement reached between Iran and the P5+1, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns this could be a historical bad deal and urges the United States to seek a better agreement to curb Tehran's nuclear program. U.S. President Barack Obama notes the nuclear deal does not end the deep divisions and mistrust between Iran and the United States, and reiterates his resolve in preventing the Islamic Republic of acquiring a nuclear bomb. Thousands of Jews gather at Jerusalem's Old City's Western Wall to attend a mass prayer for the holiday of Passover. Following the political nuclear agreement reached between Iran and the P5+1, the United States, Russia, China, France, Britain, and Germany, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said this could be a historically bad deal and urged the United States to seek a better agreement to curb Tehran's nuclear program. Netanyahu, in the first of several appearances on news programs in the United States, denounced the framework nuclear agreement and stressed that it leaves Tehran with the capacity to produce the material needed for a nuclear bomb.
I'm not trying to kill any deal, I'm trying to kill a bad deal. And you say it's a historic decision, a historic deal. It could be a historically bad deal because it leaves the preeminent terrorist state of our time with a vast nuclear infrastructure. Remember, not one centrifuge is destroyed. Thousands of centrifuges will be left spinning uranium. Not a single facility, including underground facilities, nuclear facilities, is being shut down. This is a deal that leaves Iran with the capacity to produce the material for many, many nuclear bombs, and it does so by lifting the sanctions pretty much up front. So Iran will have billions of dollars flowing to its coffers, not for schools or hospitals or roads, but to pump up its worldwide terror machine and its military machine, which is busy conquering the Middle East as we speak. The preeminent terrorist state of our time should not have access to a vast nuclear capability that will ultimately give them nuclear weapons. That's a concern for Israel, for the region, for the peace of the world.
The Israeli Prime Minister, a strong critic of the nuclear agreement, warned the agreement does not do enough to protect the Jewish state in the face of annihilation.
Chuck, I'm the only Israeli left standing who never talks about our military option. But I will say this, I prefer a diplomatic solution. You know why? Because for any military option, the country that will pay the biggest price is always Israel. So we want a diplomatic solution, but a good one that rolls back Iran's nuclear infrastructure, and one that ties the final lifting of restrictions on Iran's nuclear program with the change of Iran's behavior, namely that they stop their aggression in the region, that they stop their worldwide terrorism, and that they stop calling and working for the annihilation of Israel.
After the political agreement was reached, U.S. President Barack Obama held a phone conversation with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in which he emphasized the United States' commitment to the Jewish state and said the deal was the most effective way to ensure Iran does not acquire a nuclear weapon. In a press conference, the American president noted the deal does not end the deep divisions and mistrust between Iran and the United States, and reiterated his resolve in preventing the Islamic Republic of acquiring a nuclear bomb.
Of course, this deal alone, even if fully implemented, will not end the deep divisions and mistrust between our two countries. We have a difficult history between us. If, in fact, Prime Minister Netanyahu is looking for the most effective way to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon, this is the best option. And I believe our nuclear experts can confirm that. More importantly, I will be speaking with the Prime Minister today to make clear that there will be no daylight, there is no daylight, when it comes to our support for Israel's security and our concerns about Iran's destabilizing policies and threats towards Israel.
As part of the political nuclear agreement, the European Union agreed to terminate the implementation of all nuclear-related economic and financial sanctions. The United States has agreed to only remove its secondary nuclear-related economic and financial sanctions, leaving some sanctions in place. It is important to know that all sanctions on Iran will remain in place until a final deal is reached.
The European Union will terminate the implementation of all nuclear-related economic and financial sanctions, and the United States will cease the application of all nuclear-related secondary economic and financial sanctions, simultaneously with the IAEA verified implementation by Iran of its key nuclear commitments. A new UN Security Council resolution will endorse the JCPOA, terminate all previous nuclear-related resolutions, and incorporate certain restrictive measures for a mutually agreed period of time.
Meanwhile, Iranians were celebrating in the streets of their capital, Tehran, after Iran emerged as the so-called victor in their point of view in the nuclear negotiations, when the world powers agreed to clear the way for negotiations on a settlement with a deadline set for the 30th of June. Many details, however, still need to be worked out. Diplomats close to the negotiations said the deal was fragile. It could not be ruled out that the understandings reached could collapse between now and the June deadline. Experts stressed it would be much harder to reach a final deal than it was to agree on the framework agreement. In other news, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said Israel released frozen tax revenues to the Palestinian Authority, but that he had ordered the funds to be returned because money was deducted to cover debts the Palestinians owe the Israelis for utility expenses it is provided with. Israel started withholding tax revenues it collects on behalf of the Palestinian Authority after the Palestinians decided to pursue unilateral statehood as well as joining the International Criminal Court, a move that was finalized on the 1st of April. Under international pressure and based on Israeli defense assessments, in which the Palestinian Authority was in danger of collapsing, the Jewish state agreed to resume the transfers, saying it would immediately pay around $400 million, which is the withheld revenues minus the amount owed by the Palestinians for utilities supplied by Israel. President Mahmoud Abbas said those deductions amounted to a third of the total sum that Israel was supposed to transfer to his government and warned he would go to arbitration or the International Criminal Court if the entire sum was not transferred.
قالوا سنرسل لكم الأموال لا بأس وأرسلوها محسوما منها الثلث. لماذا؟ قال هذه ديون، من الذي يقرر؟ نحن، ونحن طرف آخر. قال لا، ما لكم حق. قلنا لا نريد الأموال، نعيد الأموال إليكم، فإما أن تعطونا إياها أو نذهب إلى التحكيم أو نذهب إلى المحكمة.
In February, Israel's electric company briefly cut power to several Palestinian cities in the West Bank to press for payment of what it said was $492 million owed by the Palestinian government. A spokesman for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had no immediate comment on the matter. Now to Jerusalem, thousands of Jews gathered at the old city's western wall to attend a mass prayer for the holiday of Passover. The crowd of men, women and children took part in a special prayer called Birkat HaKohanim, the priestly blessing, which draws crowds from across Israel and around the world. It is held twice a year during the Jewish holidays of Passover and Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. Kohanim, the Hebrew word for priests, led the communal prayer by chanting 3 consecutive verses of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, 1 word at a time, in a special song reputedly dating back to the Temple era itself. Considered Judaism's holiest site, the Western Wall is a remnant of the compound of the second Jewish temple built by King Herod the Great, which was destroyed in 70 AD. Thank you for watching us. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Jonathan Hassan. Have an Erev Tov, Shavua Tov, and happy holidays. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time.